Hello there, I'm the student and this is another video on my channel, and today I wanted to show you the second update in my game that I'm currently playing, obviously starting as Gotland. And as you can see over here, I am in the year 1530 basically, and I'm in the diplomatic map mode because I think this map mode shows it the best how extremely spread out this empire of the Hanseatic League right now is. And let's just get right into it and let's see how I got here. So first of all, obviously the question would be what happened after I showed you the last update, which was obviously in 1474, and when I showed you it the last time, I was showing you how to form the Hanseatic League with all of those three provinces over here of the Hanseatic League. And I started as Gotland, formed the Hanseatic League, and then formed Denmark via the mission, or rather the event that I clicked before I formed the Hanseatic League, and then I became Denmark, obviously with the Danish mission tree also. But yeah, obviously if you haven't watched that video, you should be watching that first, because I think it's really interesting to see how you can get to become a plutocracy Gotland with a Kalmar Union government reform. But anyways, so after I did that, obviously I started basically first of all conquering the British Isles over here. And after I did that, obviously, I also got the Burgundian inheritance. As you can see, I've also already inherited them. But you have to keep in mind that I am a plutocracy, and this means that every government type of subject is transferring 50% trade power to me, regardless of what type they are. So obviously vassals and so on are transferring trade to me if I say that they should do, but personal unions usually don't. And that's also the reason why I wanted to take the Burgundian inheritance, because even if I didn't inherit them right away, I would get 50% of their trade power in the English Channel. And to show that how this affects, I'm going to show you the trade power that I have. And you'll notice, yes, I'm making enormous amounts of money from trade, but let's have a look on the trade share. I started as Gotland and formed the Hanseatic League in 1474, and this is basically 60 years later. And in 60 years I went from 0 influence in the English Channel to 93%, obviously because I inherited Burgundy as well, but I got 93% in here. And this is obviously the first thing you have to do if you start like a trade campaign in the manner of this campaign, because if you have your home trade node completely under your control, then you can start conquering stuff outside of that and bringing trade in, because then you get a lot of the trade income that you bring in by yourself. And then obviously I also started the colonization progress, and I started it actually in this little province over here. And the reason for that is because the Denmark mission tree has a colonial mission tree as well. And you'll see, you need like a quest for the New World, which I had earlier. I'm going to talk about that later, but this mission over here needs you to discover. It says only discover any province in the Canada region, in the East Coast region, basically, or Hudson Bay, obviously, but that's always later. So I had not enough colonial range to colonize that, but this province I had discovered it though, and this province then. It doesn't say that here over there anymore, but it gives you a Siberian frontier colony in this province over here. Typically you have an event to choose where you want to do it, if you want to start one here or one in East America or one in Florida over here. But yeah, obviously as I had only discovered this, I got it immediately over here. And as I got it as a Siberian frontier, I could start sending colonists left and right of that province. And I could basically start colonizing, even though the colonial range wouldn't have allowed that normally. You'll notice after I conquered the British Isles over here and started already with Vinland and obviously getting the trade over into the North Sea and then into the English Channel, my income at that point around 1500 reached already 200 income. 200 income in 1500, that's actually a lot. And yeah, if you see the comparison right there, then you notice that yeah, that I've actually have more income than anyone else in the world at this point, and even so much more income than the Ottomans that you would think this is impossible starting as Gotland. But yeah, with this technique of being basically an Hanseatic League Denmark, it is not impossible. Going on, I've obviously got colonialism, and after I got colonialism, I ditched the colonialism ideas, the first exploration ideas over here. I had that finished until the 4th for the global settlers increase. And yeah, after that I changed it for trade ideas, and yeah, I had no problems with rulers and so on, as I'm obviously a republic, and I took sortation, which gives you basically OP rulers over and over again. So no problem with that Diplo point mana. But yeah, I've got trade ideas instead filled up, because yeah, obviously expansion gives 2 colonists. That's more than enough for a Denmark campaign. And with those 2 colonists, I did basically what every good colonized nation should do. I started colonizing the Caribbeans over here, as you can see, with Cuba. I started colonizing the East Coast with the new Hanseatic League over here. I started even colonizing Colombia because of those really nice trade goods. They have a lot of tropical wood, but over here sugar, for example, and obviously, yeah, there we go, coffee, which is really likely to spawn actually over here, if you see that, 24%. And then Brazil and La Plata, I overtook that from Castile, but for that later. And I obviously started colonizing Africa, started colonizing the west coast over here, this stuff and this province over here, and obviously the Cape. All of that brings me to a new top income that I had in 1510, so 10 years after the last one where I had 200 income, I've got already 300 income, which means that I basically boosted my income by 50% within 10 years of gameplay. But as you can see, I am right now in the year 1529. What changed after the last statistic of 1510 until now is obviously that I've started chartering companies in East Africa over here. I chartered both of these, even though they are both trade centers. They gave it to me for like 5,000 ducats or so, but if you see my income right at the end, you'll notice that this doesn't matter. The same I did also for this province over here in Iran, which is sadly no trade center. They wouldn't want to give me that. But even though it is not a trade center, it's a 5 dev province in the trade node of Gulf of Aden, I still have 25%, which is obviously also because of the amount of light ships that I have over here. 16 trade power it is giving me. But if you see the province trade power over there, is 17. This one province has 17 trade power, and it hasn't even a trading post, which I'm going to do obviously next. But yeah, I had been a little bit low on admin points. On top of these East African stuffs, I was doing the same thing in India already. And I chartered those 2 trade centers. They would give me 2 trade centers actually for around, I think, 6,000 to 7,000 ducats each. But yeah, those 2 trade centers give me already a trade portion of the Coromandel trade note of 44%, which is obviously mainly because of my plutocracy government type, obviously. And I have also a trading post over here, but also because of my ideas, which over here, for example, gives me provincial trade power plus 20%. And also my mercantilism is obviously extremely high for such a nation, with 46%, giving me a provincial trade power modifier of plus 92%. And this is basically what I did in the last 30 years, along with I also fought Spain over here, or rather Castile, because Castile was obviously, as you can see, Castile expanded like crazy into the Maghreb over there, but they were also extremely strong in Brazil and in La Plata already, and also in the West African coast. They owned those provinces over here, all of them. And also Portugal owned those 2 very valuable provinces in West Africa. And yeah, you guessed it, Portugal is a junior partner of Castile. You see that I've actually destroyed Castile a lot. And yeah, I did a little bit weird thing, you might think, because I conquered provinces over here and released Fez in this province of Melilla. And yeah, what I did, I fed them 2 provinces in Iberia, which means that a Sunni nation now owns provinces in the Iberia region, which prevents Castile from forming Spain, even though they are on admin tech 10. And this is basically the most important thing for me to do, because I want to reach a state where Castile and Portugal don't have any trade ports anymore, or any ports in general, so that they are not able to send merchants to the Caribbean over here, which you notice obviously they do, even though they get almost nothing out. But I plan on transferring from the Ivory Coast to Caribbean later for a longer trade way, and therefore I don't want to lose a portion of that to Castile and Portugal, and therefore I need to conquer all of his coastal provinces so that they are not able to send a merchant because it's too far away for them. And yeah, this mechanic would obviously be impossible if they inherited Aragon. Like if they inherited Aragon, it wouldn't be possible for me to steal all of the coastal provinces from them without ruining my nation too much, because obviously I also want to fight France as the next war. As you can see, I have my army set up over here, because yeah, France actually just declared war on Spain, and they have also took colonial ideas. They took exploration and expansion ideas, which means that I obviously have to start taking those colonies from them. And I have to do the same thing which I want to do with Castile, to take all of the coastline, so that they are not able to send merchants to, for example, Gulf of St. Lawrence over here, which they have trade power in, because they are the strongest trade power nation in Bordeaux. And a little thing that I almost forgot to mention is I actually won 2 wars against Muscovy also, which, yeah, as you can see, gave me Hanseatic Russia over here. And yeah, this is a little border go over here, but I did it because those are the only 2 trade centers. I obviously add them to a trade company, which gives me 77% influence in the Kazan trade node. And yeah, even though Muscovy still owns those 3 trade centers in Novgorod, I own those 3 trade centers, and yeah, as I'm a merchant republic, those trade centers of mine are way more valuable than his that they have, which means that I have almost 80% in Novgorod, and I'm not transferring it to the Baltic Sea because I have only 70% in the Baltic Sea, whereas I have obviously 90%, as I own all of this, as you can see. I have 90% in the White Sea, and yeah, and 80% in the North Sea, which means, yeah, that I get way more if I do it the northern White Sea path than through the Baltic Sea. And so this is my trade empire for now in 1530. And the question for now is, what am I going to do until 1600? Because obviously 1600 is the date where the global trade spawns, and my goal is to beat my last highest trade income at 1600. That I did also as Gotland. I reached 1100 trade value in the English Channel, which I have 200 right now already. So I'm pretty sure I can beat it. If you want to see how that went, you just have to watch my first video on this channel, actually, where I show off this campaign. What am I going to do now to make it better? First of all, I'm going to show you my income, obviously. As you can see, my income is 560 ducats already. If you compare this to other nations, also as I discovered Ming right now, you notice that yeah, this is just totally ridiculous. To see how high my trade value, my trade income, and my income in general is already. But yeah, with this income, I'm obviously going to start to charter more companies. Obviously, also I'm going to try to get a few in Malacca trade region. And yeah, after I am not able to get any more, I'm going to obviously start conquering those regions until Bengal, over to Gujarat and so on, all of the coastline first. As also Denmark gets missions for that, as you can see over here. If you control that, you get a lot of permanent claims. And yeah, a lot of nice stuff in Indonesia, colonies and money and so on. So yeah, that's the plan for this region. And obviously in Africa I'm going to do the same. I'm going to conquer the whole trade node of Zanzibar. I'm going to try to get a lot of the Gulf of Aden without getting the Ottomans in a coalition, obviously, which would be a little bit annoying. And then the same thing in the Ivory Coast. I'm going to start conquering Congo over here and Benin, along with those European provinces, which I said is my next war already. And yeah, coming to Europe, that is actually not much to do anymore in Europe. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start yeah, uniting the lowlands, and yeah, I'm going to start doing the same thing with Lübeck trade provinces as well. For example, those Stettin and Stralsund provinces, which are, I think, the only 2 trading centers left that I don't control. For that, I'm obviously going to kill the HRE, to dismantle the HRE. But yeah, I'm going to do that a little bit later, obviously. Right now I'm just going to focus on conquering, as I said, conquering India, conquering Africa, and conquering the New World from the natives. As you notice, I'm spending a lot on diplomatic actions, which is obviously most of that for my colonies, which I'm all of them subsidizing a lot. But obviously it doesn't really matter how much I spend, because my income is so high, as you can see, 300 ducats monthly, because it's just not possible for me to spend that money elsewhere. So I'm just going to spend it into those colonies, which are actually growing by themselves. They're declaring wars by themselves as they are so strong, especially Vinland and so on. And yeah, as I'm obviously giving them officers as well for 20% morale and 5% more discipline. And then except for those two Lübeck and English Channel trade notes, as I said, I'm going to try to cut off the Spanish nations and France, obviously. And then I'm going to start a golden era, but I'm going to start it not yet. I'm going to start it after 1550, so that the 10% goods produced modifier over there actually lasts until 1600, so that I can use that obviously. And after I click that, everything will get easier, and as well it will get way easier after I took the plutocracy ideas for the additional merchant and also 10% goods produced, and it gives a policy of another merchant with trade ideas over there, which means that I get 2 more merchants along with also caravan power. Yeah, so that's going to what I'm going to do, and then I'm going to colonize obviously a lot in Malacca and even in Australia, which is going to be my preparation for the grand final of this campaign, which I'm obviously going to show off on this channel as well. With this trading empire in the diplomatic map mode, I'm going to see you hopefully in the next video. Write down in the comments what you think about this game and what you think you would maybe do better, or what you would maybe do different. And we're going to see in the next video.